Welcome back for another video. I'm Ehabad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends. Today is day 9 of the Helicath fusion, and our focus is going to be Fire Knight. We have the dungeon divers to finish, so we're going to be wasting no time at the beginning of this tournament drop, getting our energy that we had from the update that had 2 minutes to spare, so we just timed it. And fortunately, the daily activity chest also gives us some additional energy. And with that, we'll now go into Doom Tower and get the daily energy from the first stage there as well. I do particularly like Doom Tower 3 cycle, where each day the energy drop is in the first stage. It just means that you know exactly what you're going to be getting. You know exactly how you want to time it. So with all of that energy, we'll then get the playtime rewards, we'll get the daily quest energy as well. And we'll use our weekly energy drops in addition to that. We know we've got a lot of work to do to make up the shortfall on the dungeon divers. So we're going to be running all of this energy straight into Fire Knight, stage 24 with super raids. This is the team I use to farm 24. I don't have a reset because Allure is weak affinity. The only way to make this run 100% is for me to run a Duchess. Now, sometimes we'll do it quickly, cleanly, and we won't take any damage at all. But if the Fire Knight boss takes a turn, or if anyone in this second wave takes a turn, typically Allure will get one shot. So the only way for me to have this as a totally consistent run with Seer there, who does make it that bit quicker, is to run it in this form. Pre-Duchess, I did used to run a different team, which I will show you later. Actually, in fact, there you go, Allure getting one shot, just as we mentioned. I did used to run a different team pre-Duchess, which was Arbiter, Stag Knight, Nethril, and Double Coldheart. It was very consistent. We never would take any damage whatsoever, but it was consistently slower than this team. This is the fastest team I've managed to come up with for stage 24. I know there's faster teams on stage 25, but as I've shown in graphics previously, stage 24 is just a more efficient stage to farm. And for me, the efficiency trumps that small speed improvement of stage 25. I'd rather run a slightly slower team that is 100%, so I never lose any fights with this team, and accept the efficiency. It's a personal choice at the end of the day. You know, some people, in fact most people, do run Fire Knight 25. It is the faster stage to run. Allure is not negative affinity. I fully get it, but my personal preference is I prefer to run stage 24 in all instances, unless we have CVC, at which point I will run stage 25s because you get much better CVC points to energy. So I'll always look to optimize in every kind of situation. My teams are fast enough that the increase in speed for stage 25 isn't material enough for me to want to drop down in efficiency. So let me get all of these runs done, and we'll look at what the next stage of the day is. And with those 30 runs finished, we've used up all of our energy. Let's go and have a look to see how we're getting on in both the Fire Knight tournament. Firstly, where we have 1100 points already done, so we're comfortably well on the way there. And more importantly, on the dungeon divers, where we're now at 3188, but we still have a bit of work to do. I then ran the rest of Doom Tower, picked up another energy kind of bonus from Scarab 60 on the normal side, and immediately put that back into Fire Knight 24. Quelle surprise. So it's a bit of a, not the most exciting of days, but obviously, you know, got another 5 battles or multi-battles in there, so effectively 10 more battles. So we've done a lot of energy today in Fire Knight. Haven't looked at the drops at all, haven't started the artifact enhancement event yet. I'll look at that shortly. More importantly for today is just making sure we get this Dungeon Divers done. So we're now, 400 points to go. We still have some energy in reserve from our tag team and regular arena tournaments. So if we take a look initially at Classic Arena, we have 75 energy there. And moving over to the tag team, unfortunately, did not get the first place. This guy, Dakray, went completely off the reservation, getting 25,000 points. I mean, just mad. Like, if you check the global leaderboard, he's not actually in the top 100, but he's very, very, very close. Just shy of the top 100 global. I could see that he was going to be pushing hard, so roughly 2 days in, I took my foot off the pedal and stopped using any more gems for refills and just let him have it. There was no point contesting it. Right then, we have 375 points left to get the GOAT in Dungeon Divers, and we will actually have tomorrow's energy within which to use in this event in the morning, so I will not use any additional energy today to do so. I have put in the 75 energy from Classic Arena, but I've not used any of the energy from Tag Team. In doing so, we have now got one more stage of rewards from Fire Knight itself. But what we do have left to do today is certainly at least the Summon Rush we have to make a decision on. And I do think that both in the Artifact event and the Summon Rush, Plarium have been pretty mean. I can't recall seeing a Summon Rush go up to 8,000 points before for what is effectively the same kind of set of rewards as you would normally get at a 7,500 point Summon Rush, so an extra 500 points there. I've never seen the rare this high. Typically, it's either been at the 1070, the 1400, or the 1750 mark. It's never been up above 2,000 before. And also, I have never seen the epic up in this slot. We've seen epics anywhere really from 2,500 to 3,500 points previously. Never up here at 49.25. That is really overpricing this epic, personally. So my strategy here will be to do 4 sacreds today, get us to 2,000 points. And then when champion training drops on Sunday, we have a day of overlap between champion training and Summon Rush. I expect I will likely use around 150 mystery shards doing that anyway. So I might as well get that final 150 points in the champion training via mystery shards. So let's just summon these 4 sacreds. If we have a quick look at the 10x, I have Bushan, I have Astralon, I have Husk, I have Amida, I have Magnar, and I have Miscreated. The only champion that we can get on the 10x that I don't have is Biggin. And I would actually quite like a Biggin. My Ogun Tribes is not very strong, so the Secret Room is very slow, and Biggin would definitely speed up my Faction War 20 and 21 clears. They're not too bad at the moment, but his biggest impact would be in the hard Secret Room. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're only doing 4 sacred, so it's unlikely, but let's get into it. First sacred, what's it going to give us? Epic. Dupe Thylesia. Good champion. I've not really got to test it, to be honest. Hopefully at some point. Another epic. Dupe Anax. Have actually built him out, been using him in against Bobble for an auto team. Decent champion. I think the problem is there's just too many other champions that have similar kind of sets of mechanics and skill sets rather. And they just get more playtime, Someone like Fane just is straight out better for Clan Boss than Anax. He's quite niche in terms of his actual use. Base defense is atrocious as well. And next, another epic, another dupe. For me, I have most of the epics nowadays, though, so it's rare that I pull one that isn't. Galcut hits hard, but has a very uninspiring skill set and really doesn't get used at all. I don't know. Don't know what they could do. I think it's the problem is bombs. Bombs just are so underwhelming. Anyway, there we go. 4. We did get someone on the 10x. It is a dupe. Miscreated Monster, one of the original, like, absolute godly carries of the game. If you do get him early to mid game, what a champion. Really good champion with a decreased defense stun on the A1, AoE stun on the A2 that also puts out a shield based on damage inflicted. So this can be absolutely massive shields against Spider. Really good for carrying you through Spider early to mid game. And then a nice kind of ally protection that also gives him a continuous heal. Allows you to create quite a lot of kind of survivability, sustain. You know, it's a 3-turn ally protection, ultimately on a 4-turn cooldown. It's really good, actually. Really strong champion. Unfortunately, by the time I got him, I was already pretty late game, so he's never really had much use on my account, but fantastic epic nonetheless. So yeah, that gets us 2,000 points in. We can collect everything but the energy. And obviously that last 150 points we'll get on Sunday once the champion training starts. So we still have some energy left to use today, so I thought let's take the opportunity to show you my old team that I used to use on Fire Knight 24. These champions aren't all in the same builds as they once were. For instance, Nethril is quite a lot slower than he used to be. I used to run him closer to 250 speed, so I can't say for certain whether this will still be the same speed of run that it used to be. But I mean, Stag Knight and Nethril are both built for more damage than they used to be. And I've also set up some AI overrides, so both Cold Hearts will be ignoring the A2 against the boss. And they'll both be ignoring Heartseeker in round 1 and 2. Stag Knight, the only override is I want him to open with his A1, and the same with Nethril, open with the A1 against the boss. Otherwise, I've left everything else completely untouched. So I'll take it off Super Raid so we can get a few different iterations in with this remaining energy. Let me just show you this old composition I had, which I still think is a good team setup. And in place of Nethril, you could easily put someone like Visix or even an Armiger. The waves would be slower without Nethril if you had an Armiger, but you could definitely, swap Nethril for someone else. You could even swap Arbiter. I do like the TM fill and the increase attack, so that's the main reason Arbiter's there. Gorgrab has quicker animation, so would actually be better for this slot, but my Gorgrab's only level 50 and not particularly well built, so I'll stick with Arbiter for this run. Let's jump in and see how it goes. There we go. Still averaging a fairly decent time. We did take a small amount of damage on one of the Cold Hearts, but came in under 3 minutes. If I remember correctly, it averaged on around 230 to 330 was kind of the standard runtime for this composition. But obviously the Seer team is a little bit quicker. Typically it's like 140 to 240 as the kind of average-ish time. So it did shave, about 40 to 60 seconds off this composition, but under 3 minutes is still a good time for stage 24. So let's have a little play and see if we can come up with something else that might be an interesting way to do stage 24, and then we'll drop down to stage 20 and try and see if we've got a fairly budget team to do stage 20. Right then, I did suggest that Visix would work in place of Nethril, and I thought let's bring in Lydia. So this is a fairly accessible team for most people. I know some people might not have double Cold Heart, but if you are trying to push stage 24 and you already have Lydia, I'm assuming you're fairly mid to late game anyway. So this composition should be one that a lot of people can achieve, particularly, if you don't have Allure and you don't have Duchess and other such champions. This could be viable. So let's just, we'll run it, we'll see how quick it is, and then we'll drop down to stage 20 and see if we can come up with a early to mid game style team to clear stage 20. I'll put the music on and we'll come back at the end. Well, that was disappointing, I'd say, in terms of speed. Between obviously losing two attack-based damage dealers in place of Visix and Lydia, who both Lydia deals less damage than Stag, and Visix obviously isn't getting any benefit from increased attack from Arbiter, so effectively doing less work than Nethril. Yeah. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. Let's try and get something particularly budget for stage 20. Right then, I have absolutely no idea if this team's actually going to work, but I've tried to pick as budget a team as possible. You get Drexar through the TTA Bazaar, everyone should be working to get him as soon as possible. Omega, a uncommon that everyone can get from the marketplace, 2 rares, and I've allowed myself 1 epic in Stag Knight, but you could swap him for someone else, you could swap Drexar for someone else. I mean, there's all of these teams can be swapped for better people, but I wanted to do it no Allure, no Cold Heart, and generally as accessible a composition as possible, with a view to what could you do stage 20 before you have Visix, before you have Syl. So, let's just throw this team together, see how it goes, and hopefully it might give you guys some ideas about how you could build a team for stage 20. Let's put some music on and see how we get on. I am a little bit concerned about the builds in these champions. Some of them are quite squishy, so it could be a bit of a disaster. But I'm hoping that everyone will go after either Apothecary or Drexar and leave our 3 spirit champions alone. If they do that, then we should be fine. I'll put the music on now. We'll come back at the end of the run. So, I mean, it worked. It's not that fast, but we have gone pretty budget. I mean, there's upgrades across the board that are doable. I also do think we could change the AI slightly and actually get a slightly quicker run. I think we could get the shield down faster if in round 3 we actually open with Apothecary's A1 instead. And there we go, we did manage to break the shield a bit faster. It worked better in terms of getting that decreased defense on from Stag Knight faster. We weren't putting that into the shield, so we should take down the boss much quicker. Now, a couple of things to note. My Soulbond is in a stun set. She could be in a full damage build, and that would be more optimum for this kind of configuration. Beyond that, don't think there's a huge amount of upside potential for this particular team. I think the reality is if you want faster runs beyond what this team is going to show in this run, it's about having better Fire Knight champions. This is kind of as good as it's going to get with this kind of extremely accessible composition. I've tried to kind of give some ideas for how you could maybe get Fire Knight 20 on auto farm. We have Apothecary there for triple hit A1 and the negative affinity tank, so hopefully it'll take majority of damage in the waves. We don't have any kind of natural wave clearer, really, and our kind of pseudo control is coming from Drexar with a not 100% provoke on the A2. Drex also has triple hit from Apothecary, double hit from Stag Knight, so that's how we're getting down the shield. We have Soulbond's A3 and Armiger's A1 as our TM control. That is enough on stage 20 to keep the shield down. Then obviously, we've got Apothecary making us go faster, and we've got decreased speed coming from Stag Knight. So we're trying to bring increased speed for us or increased TM and decreased speed on the boss, plus some turn meter, plus some multi-hitters. So we're kind of covering all the bases, and unless you have better Fire Knight champions, this is kind of the best that I could come up with in terms of trying to keep it as accessible as possible without using Cold Heart. Right then, I think that's going to be all for this video. As one last note, I'm not going to go do the guaranteed champion. I already have a Candrathon on my account. In fact, I do have 2. That said, if I did not have Candrathon, I think I would be going for the event. I do have enough Ancient Shards that I could afford to drop 150 on this guaranteed event. And like I said, if I didn't already have him, I would certainly go for him. He is one of the best arena defense nukers in the game, if not the best arena nuker defense in the game. And I think if you have a Veil champion, either Duchess or Rector to go with him, maybe even Tatura, but preferably Rector or Duchess since they have a revive, then he is truly a top tier defense nuker. And you certainly wouldn't regret pulling him. Right then, thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I will catch you in the next video tomorrow. One last thing, I do apologise for the audio. My voice has been a bit weird today, and in different recording voiceovers, it's not been consistent at all. Anyway, bye for now.